Welcome back everybody to the Nomad Hedge. In today's video, we will be analyzing the price action here for Bitcoin and see which levels that are very important to watch here, because there's certain levels here that could break and we could also rally pretty hard from current levels as well. If you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. You can also follow me on X, and let's get into the video. We're currently looking here at the price action for Bitcoin on a weekly chart. There are basically three levels I want you to take a look at here. First of all, we do have the anchored VWAP here from the lows that started back in 2020. And this low here back in 2022 is the anchored VWAP, which has been creeping up here towards this prior all-time highs here. And so this level here, this is the standard deviation, the upper standard deviation of this anchored VWAP, which is currently sits at 0.618. So this is the golden ratio of the anchored VWAP to the upside. And Bitcoin is currently finding support right at this area here. And so either we're going to rally from this level or we're going to break and continue lower. And basically, it offers, whenever you hit levels like these, they offer great risk reward. Okay, so let's just say that you start a position here and you put your stop loss within this area or at the low here. You could have managed to buy this thing at a very low price, and you could have seen Bitcoin rally towards new all-time highs while you bought it at the lows here. However, if not, if Bitcoin breaks here and you get stopped out, you have another chance to buy right at this level here, which is the anchored VWAP. And notice the 233 EMA on the weekly creeping up as well at this level. So there's a little bit of a gap here, but I think this gap could close with time. And you also have the 0.618 here, basically. So I would say Bitcoin is looking pretty attractive from this level, even though there's a risk here that we could continue moving lower, and I'm going to show you why. But if we were to continue lower, this is basically your area of interest to where you should look into buying Bitcoin again, because it's basically, again, the anchored VWAP, which could be a retest of that level. And you also have the prior highs here. So what I think Bitcoin is trying to do is just retesting some of these levels. Okay, so we've had a huge bump in price here, and then alongside with the S&P 500 and the broader market, we're just trying to reprice a little bit thing, trying to work out all of these overbought conditions and shake out a lot of people. But in the meantime, you have to look at targets here and levels that are important to watch, so you could step back in instead of buying at the top again. So that is why we like levels like these, because these could offer another base here where you have a 1-2 and then you have an impulse towards the upside. If not, you're basically getting stopped out here, and look for the next level here at the anchored VWAP alongside this 233 EMA. And it's also within this area where the 0.618 from the lows here also coincides. I mentioned that previously that there's a risk here for Bitcoin to move lower, and I'm going to show you what I mean exactly with that. So here's I think I'm probably one of the very few people who look at the chart. This is the USDT tether versus the total crypto market cap, and we're excluding all the stable coins basically. So you're basically seeing the ratio here between tether and the entire crypto market cap. And this has been basically the entire inverse of what's happening in the market. So whenever you're seeing here, whenever Tether is moving higher, the crypto market is moving in the opposite direction. So you have a bump here in the price of Tether, and you can see here that whenever we move lower here, that's bullish for crypto. So I'm going to plot the price of Bitcoin here so you can see exactly what I mean. You can see here that whenever we have a bump here in the price of Bitcoin, so basically this entire move here and this entire move here, this level here, we're looking at the price of Bitcoin right there. Whenever the price of Bitcoin moves up, and I'm using Bitcoin as a proxy for the entire crypto market, but as you can see, as the price of Bitcoin moves up, the ratio here for Tether moves lower, okay? And then when the price of Bitcoin moves lower, you see a bottoming here taking hold, and then that's when Tether moves up again. So this is basically signaling to you whenever a bear market is about to start, okay? And here you have a bump in price of Bitcoin, and you see another decline here. And basically this is basically a repeat, right? So Tether moves up, and Bitcoin moves down, right? And then Tether moves lower, and then you have a sharp increase here for BTC. And then this is your, 2022, 2020 bull market here for the crypto market, where you can see here that crypto moves higher, and then the ratio here for Tether moves lower. Now, more recently, we have seen the decline of Tether, right? And we have seen this huge bull market here that started back in 2022. Okay, so this is where the collapse of FTX, right? So you have the FTX collapse. That's when things bottomed. And then that was also the top here for Tether. And that should basically have been your buying opportunity. But now, what are we seeing right now? Okay, so it looks as if Tether is bottoming right here. Okay, and we have broken above a major trend line here. So could this be a start of a bear market for the crypto market? I would say it's a very strong chance and a likelihood that we could see that, unless we're getting knocked down again. But since we have broken above this trend line here, which we have attempted to do a couple times, and here we got the breakout, and now we can see that Tether is moving higher. Okay, and we also have the anchored weave up here from the top. So I would say if Tether breaks out from this level here, that would just be a confirmation of that. So that's why if we go back to the price here for Bitcoin, we can see that Bitcoin has been reflecting that move here towards the downside, where you have Tether moving up. That is why if we're continuing to see Tether, with the strong upside momentum, don't be surprised at all to see Bitcoin falling further. But at some point, Tether will top as well, and Bitcoin will find a bottom. And that is why we're looking at this area here for major support. Okay, I would basically look at this anchored weave up here and just start a position right at this area if we're going to break this one. However, if you are betting that the price is moving higher, it wouldn't hurt to start a position here as well. It offers great risk reward. And if you're getting stopped out here, you know that you can buy Bitcoin at a lower price either way. So that was just the way I'm looking at this entire market here. So we're basically looking at the standard deviation here for the anchor VWAP. That's a 0.618. Okay, if we're losing this one, watch for the 233 and the anchored VWAP right at this area here. And that would imply a price of BTC at around $65,000. Okay, so 65,000 is your next level of support if we're going to lose 85,000. So we're currently at 85, 88. And so that's basically where Bitcoin is currently hovering. Worst case scenario, I mean, you could look at this area here, but I think that would be very far-fetched to look at, Bitcoin moving that low. So watch this area here for a buying opportunity. And if you fail this one, again, you can buy it at a lower price. That was basically it for this video. I just wanted to give you a preview of how I look at this market. And overall, as soon as Bitcoin finds support, it will rally, and then it will rally pretty hard. I mean, you're going to miss the bottom of these things. Imagine just how things look back here, right? When Bitcoin just started to rack up here in price, and most people just end up buying at the top. The same thing with here, right? Here was a retest again of this 0.618, right? And here you had a test of the anchored VWAP. I mean, imagine buying Bitcoin right here then. So that is why we have been looking at these levels, and we find them to be very critical. And so that is why we think that Bitcoin could bottom here. But again, if we don't bottom there, we know what to look for next. So that's what we do here at Nomad Hedge. We always buy the bottom. We're trying to lock in, try to buy low and then sell high. So if you haven't already, consider liking and subscribing to this channel. You can also follow me on X. It's at Nomad Hedge, and I post there daily. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care for now.